Where the hell the Los Angeles Lakers think they going with a bunch of white dudes? Your 3 top players are white dudes? This ain't golf. This ain't baseball. Hell, it ain't even soccer. What y'all think this is? It's basketball. In NBA history, when have you seen your 3 most prominent players on a basketball team all be white? And that takes you to the promised land. Somebody got to say it, so I'm saying it.
On the morning of June 30th at 9 o'clock, LeBron James ended an era with a phone call he didn't even personally make. 8 years, 1 championship, a son on the roster next to him, and in a single sentence relayed through his agent to a reporter, it was over. He was leaving the Lakers. The most storied franchise in basketball said thank you, wished him well, and posted a graphic. And then, for a few hours, nothing. The Lakers just sat there with $52 million in cap space, no starting center, and no plan the public could see. Then, free agency opened, and in about 35 minutes, everything changed. By the time the dust settled, the Lakers had committed close to $450 million to rebuild a roster from the ground up. Not around LeBron James, but around somebody else entirely. And if you've been paying attention to how this front office has operated since a 5-time All-NBA guard walked in from Dallas 17 months ago, you already know exactly who that somebody is. This is the story of how the Los Angeles Lakers, in about 2 weeks, without their franchise legend, without a single game played yet, just became exactly what the rest of the NBA has been afraid of since the day they got Luka Dončić. Let's start with what actually happened, because the timeline matters here. LeBron James joined the Lakers as a free agent back in 2018. Over 8 seasons, he put up 25.9 points, 7.9 assists, and 7.7 rebounds a night across 479 regular season games. And in the bubble in 2020, he won Finals MVP and delivered the franchise its 17th championship. He became the first player in league history to log 23 seasons. He became the first player ever to share an NBA court with his own son. By any measure, this was one of the great player franchise runs in the sport's history, and on June 30th, he told the Lakers he was done, not retiring, leaving. Rich Paul, his agent, informed ESPN's Shams Charania directly, and James posted his own goodbye shortly after. The reasoning, according to people close to him, wasn't complicated. He wants what any 41-year-old chasing a record 24th season wants: a real, present tense shot at a championship. LeBron wants to compete for a championship, Paul told reporters, while acknowledging the obvious, that the Lakers, as currently built, were playing a longer game than James has time left to wait for. Here's the detail that actually stings the most, though. The night before James told the Lakers he was leaving, the team had a deadline to decide whether to waive his son. They chose not to. Bronny James's contract for next season became fully guaranteed on a Monday night. The next morning, his father told the front office he wouldn't be walking through that door again. The son stays. The father goes. That's the kind of detail you can't script. And here's the part I need to be straight with you about. As of right now, LeBron still hasn't picked a team. Cleveland is the name attached to most of the recent smoke. He's reportedly spent real time there this summer, and insiders like Mark Stein have said the vibes point home. But ESPN's Shams Charania has also reported there's no rush, that this could stretch for weeks, and Denver has already been crossed off the list. Golden State, Miami, and Philadelphia are all still circling. Wherever he ends up, that's genuinely a different video. What matters for this one is simpler and already confirmed. The era is over, and the Lakers didn't wait around to find out how they'd feel about it, because they'd already seen the writing on the wall. Head coach J.J. Redick, after the season ended in May, said it plainly: "I didn't want our season to end." What he didn't say out loud, but what the front office clearly understood, was that the version of the team that had just been eliminated wasn't the version they were building toward anyway. To understand why the front office moved as fast and as ruthlessly as it did this summer, you have to understand exactly how good and exactly how heartbreaking the season before it was. Luka Dončić, in his second full season in Los Angeles, had one of the best individual years anybody in that building has ever produced. He led the entire NBA in scoring at 33.5 points a night, adding 8.3 assists and 7.7 rebounds, shooting 47.6% from the field and 36.6% from three. That's his second career scoring title. Over an 11-game stretch in March and early April, he averaged 39.5 points a game, a run that included a 60-point outburst, a 50-point game, and 3 separate 40-point nights. He won Player of the Month honors in March alone, while the Lakers went 15-2. And when MVP voting came out, Luka finished fourth, 0 first-place votes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won it for the second straight year, with Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama rounding out the top 3. JJ Redick didn't hide how he felt about it. Asked directly, he said one word: disappointed. He went on to explain that the team's own uneven stretches in the standings cost Luka the media momentum he needed, whatever the individual numbers said. Here's the cruelest part of the whole season, though, and it happened in a single game. On April 2nd, in Oklahoma City, Luka went down with a hamstring strain. In that exact same game, Austin Reeves, the Lakers' number 2 option, strained his oblique. 2 of the team's 3 best players hurt on the same night in the same building. Luka never played another minute that season. His MVP case, his health, and the Lakers' margin for error all disappeared in the same 48 minutes. What happened next is honestly the most underrated part of this entire story. Without their 2 best offensive players even close to full strength, the Lakers still beat the Houston Rockets in the first round, 4-2. A rematch, by the way, of the 2020 semifinals the Lakers won on their way to that championship. Reeves gutted through the oblique injury to help close it out. LeBron, at 41 years old, averaged 23.2 points, 7.3 assists, and 6.7 rebounds across the postseason, upping his minutes from the regular season and playing like a man with something to prove. Then came the Oklahoma City Thunder, the reigning champions, the best record in basketball, and a team that had already beaten the Lakers in all 4 regular season meetings that year. The result was about what you'd expect from a full-strength title team against a short-handed one. OKC took 3 of the first 4 games by a combined 59 points, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a red-hot A.J. Mitchell, 24 points and 10 assists in Game 3 alone, pulling away every time LA made it close. But Game 4 was different. The Lakers, down 2 of their top 3 players all series, actually took the champs into the fourth quarter with a real lead. The first time all postseason OKC had trailed that late. LeBron scored 24 with 12 rebounds in what turned out to be the final game of his Lakers career, missing a potential go-ahead shot with 20 seconds left. Oklahoma City closed it out 115-110 and completed the sweep. That loss ended the season 0-8 against the team standing between the Lakers and a conference finals. 4 regular season losses, 4 playoff losses, every single one of them. Whatever else changed this summer, that number is exactly why it changed. So let's go back to that morning. LeBron tells the Lakers he's leaving at 9 o'clock. The free agency negotiating window doesn't even open until 6 that evening. For most of that day, the Lakers do nothing publicly. They're not allowed to. But behind the scenes, general manager Rob Pelinka already knew exactly what he wanted to do, because Luka had already told him. Sometime before this offseason even began, according to ESPN's reporting, Luka Dončić gave the front office a clear directive. Find him an A-list center, not a stopgap, not another reclamation project, a real one. The Lakers had actually been trying to land Walker Kessler for years, as far back as the 2023-24 season, and Utah had always turned them down, the price always too steep. This time, Kessler himself had grown tired of waiting in Utah. He turned down a 5-year, roughly $140 million extension from the Jazz to test restricted free agency, and league sources say he'd quietly had his eye on Los Angeles for a while. The moment the negotiating window opened, the Lakers pounced. Utah agreed to send Kessler to Los Angeles in a sign-and-trade in exchange for 2 unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, plus first-round swap rights in 2028 and 2030. Kessler signed for 4 years and $130 million. At 7'2", Kessler is one of the most efficient rebounders and rim protectors in basketball. In his last fully healthy season, he averaged 11.1 points, 12.2 rebounds and led the entire NBA in offensive rebounding. Since he entered the league in 2022, only Victor Wembanyama has blocked more shots per game. The catch, and it's a real one, he played just 5 games last season before a torn labrum in his shoulder ended his year. We'll get back to that. With Kessler locked in, the previous starting center became expendable almost instantly. DeAndre Ayton, who'd started all 72 games he played for the Lakers the year before, was flipped to the Washington Wizards for guard Jaden Hardy and 2 future second-round picks. On the surface, it looks like a minor housekeeping move. Underneath it, the numbers tell a sharper story. According to Cleaning the Glass, the Lakers were actually better on a per-possession basis with Ayton on the bench than on the floor, minus 0.4 points per 100 possessions with him playing, versus plus 5.3 without him. Kessler didn't just replace Ayton's job, he replaced a problem. From there, it turned into a shopping spree. Sandro Mamukelashvili, a 6'9" stretch big coming off a career year in Toronto, 11.2 points, 4.9 rebounds, nearly 39% from 3, signed for 4 years and $52 million. Quentin Grimes, a 3-and-D wing who'd bounced through 4 teams in 5 seasons before finding a groove in Philadelphia, agreed to 4 years and $60 million. Colin Sexton, a downhill scoring guard who split last season between Chicago and Charlotte, signed for 2 years and roughly $19 million. Looney rounded it out on a 1-year veteran's minimum deal to back up Kessler. And then the one nobody was ever actually worried about, even if it took until July 12th to make official, Austin Reeves, the kid from Arkansas who went undrafted in 2021, who's raised his scoring average in every single season of his career, agreed to a 4-year, $185 million maximum contract. The richest deal in NBA history for a player nobody picked. He turned down a $14.9 million option to get there. Rob Pelinka didn't hesitate. He started his journey here as a Laker, Pelinka said, and has made it very clear to us that he wants his journey to continue as a Laker. In the span of about a week and a half, the Lakers watched Rui Hachimura sign with the Clippers, Marcus Smart sign with the Rockets, and Luke Kennard sign with the Suns. The entire starting lineup that beat Houston in the first round, gone except for Luka and Reeves. In its place, a completely rebuilt supporting cast assembled at a pace that left even Lakers beat writers scrambling to keep their depth charts current. Here's the part of this story that actually explains all of it, and it has nothing to do with basketball. Back in October of 2025, the NBA's Board of Governors approved the sale of a majority stake in the Lakers to Mark Walter, the controlling owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, in a deal valued at $10 billion. That's not just a franchise record. That's the largest valuation for any sports franchise in history, beating the Boston Celtics sale by nearly $4 billion. Jeannie Buss stayed on as team governor, guaranteed for at least 5 years. Rob Pelinka stayed on as GM and president of basketball operations. But almost immediately, Dodgers president of baseball operations Andrew Friedman and special advisor Farhan Zaidi started showing up in the building, the same executives who built back-to-back World Series champions using one of the deepest analytics and player development operations in professional sports. Pelinka has said it outright, in his own words, the Lakers are trying to model their front office after the Dodgers. There is no expense they'll spare in being the best sort of front office in the world, he said of his new sister franchise, and we're excited about that. That context changes how you should read everything that happened this summer. This wasn't panic. This wasn't a franchise flailing after losing its biggest name. This was a resourced, modern front office executing a plan it had clearly already mapped out, the instant it had the legal ability to. And here's the stat that actually proves it wasn't just about money. Tracking data from Data Baller, first surfaced by Essentially Sports, shows exactly why letting LeBron walk made basketball sense, not just salary cap sense. With Doncic, Reeves, and James all sharing the floor together last season, the Lakers were a minus 7.8 team per 100 possessions, a losing lineup mathematically in the games that mattered most. Put LeBron out there without the other two, running his own group, and the number flips to a plus 8.8. But put Doncic and Reeves out there without LeBron, plus 17.9. The two best true fits on this roster were never a trio. They were a duo. The front office spent 2 seasons trying to make 3 #1 options coexist, and the numbers were quietly telling them the whole time that 2 of them, playing off each other without a third mouth to feed, were simply better basketball. It's worth pausing here to give credit where it's overdue. When JJ Redick took this job, he was a podcaster with 0 coaching experience, and plenty of people around the league thought the Lakers had lost their minds handing him the keys. 2 seasons later, he's the first Lakers head coach since Phil Jackson to post back-to-back 50-win seasons. He got LeBron James, the all-time leading scorer in basketball history, to accept a diminished offensive role for the good of the team. That's not a small thing. Most locker rooms with that much ego in them never get there. So put it all together. A superstar already extended and locked in through at least 2028 who told his front office exactly what he needed. An ownership group with $10 billion behind it, deliberately importing a championship blueprint from next door. A coach who's already proven he can get stars to buy into a hierarchy. And a front office willing to let a top 10 player in NBA history walk out the door without a fight the moment the timeline stopped making sense, while still guaranteeing his son's roster spot on the way out. That is, structurally, exactly the version of the Lakers that the rest of the league has quietly feared for years. Not a Lakers team chasing a name, a Lakers team running a system. Now, before this turns into a hype reel, let's slow down, because the channel doesn't do that here, and this roster has real specific questions attached to it. Start with Walker Kessler himself. He played 5 games last season. 5. Before that, a genuinely great, efficient center. But the sample size on genuinely great now includes real, recent shoulder surgery. And it's fair to ask how his body responds to a starter's workload again before anybody crowns this front court. The Lakers just handed him $130 million and 2 unprotected first-round picks on the belief that last year's injury doesn't repeat itself. Second, because they acquired Kessler through a sign and trade, the Lakers are hard capped at the first apron for the entire 2026-27 season. In plain terms, there is very little room left to fix a mistake in season. If Grimes doesn't shoot like he did in Philadelphia, if Mamukelashvili doesn't hold up defensively at power forward, if the new pieces simply don't have chemistry in year 1, the front office's ability to course correct at the trade deadline is genuinely limited. This is a roster built to work as designed, with not much slack if it doesn't. And there's a more basic problem hiding under all of it. None of these guys have played a single competitive minute together. Kessler, Grimes, Mamukelashvili, Sexton, every one of them is walking into a new system, a new role, and a new set of teammates at the same time. Continuity wins playoff series. This team, on paper, has almost none of it yet. Last, and maybe most important, the bar hasn't moved. Oklahoma City just went 8-0 against this exact core across the full season, including a sweep. San Antonio, with Victor Wembanyama entering his prime, isn't going anywhere either. Both of those teams have real continuity that the Lakers, by design, just blew up. Building a better engine around Luka Dončić doesn't automatically mean the Lakers have closed the gap to the top of the West. It means they've given themselves a real chance to start closing it. Those are 2 very different things, and the season is going to be the only honest way to tell which one this actually is. 2 things are still hanging over this roster as of the day I'm recording this, and both of them could change the shape of this story before you're even watching it. The first is Jonathan Kuminga. He's the Lakers' one remaining real target, a 23-year-old former lottery pick who was traded from Golden State to Atlanta at last year's deadline and averaged 12.2 points and 5.6 rebounds in just 16 games there before the Hawks declined his option. The Lakers can only land him through a sign and trade with Atlanta, and right now there's a real gap. Kuminga reportedly wants something in the range of $25 million a year. The Lakers' offers have been reported anywhere from $10 million to around $21.5 million depending on the structure, and Atlanta has so far refused to take back Jared Vanderbilt's contract as part of the framework. There's even a wrinkle working against urgency on LA's side. Summer League forward Arthur Kaluma has been putting up huge numbers in Las Vegas, enough that some in the organization are quietly asking whether they even need to overpay for Kuminga at all. If this deal gets done, it's the difference, in the Lakers' own words, between a roster that's solid and one that's genuinely dangerous. If it doesn't, the roster we just walked through is what they're taking into October. The second loose end is LeBron himself. Wherever he signs, and Cleveland remains the name most connected to him right now, though nothing is close to official, there's a real chance it puts him directly in this team's path again, whether that's in the standings or somewhere down the road in the playoffs. The player this whole offseason was built around not needing anymore could very easily end up being the player standing between this new-look roster and the next round. Here's what I keep coming back to. The NBA has never actually been afraid of the Lakers' name. Everybody knows the history, the banners, the mystique, but for most of the last decade and a half, that mystique hasn't translated into results because the front office running it kept making emotional decisions instead of structural ones, chasing headlines instead of fits, handing out money because of who a guy used to be, not what he could still do next to the two best players already in the building. What actually happened this July is different, and it's worth saying plainly. The fear was never Luka Dončić by himself. It's Luka Dončić locked into a long-term deal, paired with a front office that finally, for the first time in years, knows exactly what it's doing, and is willing to let an all-time great walk out the door, mid-legacy, the moment the timeline stops making sense. That's the version of the Lakers the rest of the league has quietly dreaded for a decade. Not the one with the biggest name, the one that finally stopped making mistakes. Whether it wins anything is next season's question, not this one's. Kessler has to stay healthy. 5 new faces have to become a team. And somewhere out there, LeBron James is about to make one more decision that could end up defining how this whole story is remembered. But the machine itself? That part's already built. And built fast enough that the rest of the West barely had time to react. So here's what I want to know from you. Is this actually a better team than the one LeBron just left? Or did the Lakers just trade one set of question marks for another? Drop your record prediction for this group in the comments. Hit like if you think Kessler stays healthy all year, and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out one of these videos on your screen now.